Hey guys, it's Phantom here today, and today we are talking about Final Fantasy 16. Finally, some positive news on this game. Plus, any type of news on this game is some great news because, yeah, we finally got somewhat of a release date, somewhat of stuff going on for the game, and I'm kind of hyped. So we're near the final stretch of the game with development, and that means the game might be coming out. Because I knew it wasn't coming out this year. I said 2024 or 2023, and yeah, it seems like those dates are coming out sooner than later. So development of Final Fantasy 16 is in the final stretch. Producer Naoki Yoshida says in the latest issue of Unico Free in Store UT magazine, "I'm sorry I read that whole title, I could have just read one thing," which includes an interview with Yoshida as a part of the clothing company's collaboration with Final Fantasy for the franchise's 35th anniversary. I didn't know there was a clothing franchise collab with them. I know Kingdom Hearts does a lot of them, and Persona does, but I didn't know they were doing it. But currently, development on the latest title of Final Fantasy 16 is in the final stretch. Yoshida said, "As a single-player game, Final Fantasy 16 aims to unify the story and gameplay experience." So yeah, a lot of games are like multiplayer, so it's like when it comes to working a single player game, you need to focus on how the story goes and how the gameplay goes. And also, they've been working on Final Fantasy 14 a lot. Like if you guys have never played Final Fantasy 14, give it a try, because you'll see just how much quality goes into that, and you're gonna see it's gonna go right into Final Fantasy 16. But unified story and gameplay experience, unlike online games which portray multiple players at once, Final Fantasy 16 has an individual focus about which make the stories more immersive, and I think the story has become quite deep. My hope is that the adults who have grown up understanding the rules of society and drifted away from Final Fantasy, thinking this real world isn't as easy as a video game, can remember the enthusiasm. And he just wants us to, feel what it's like to have a childhood again. But it being on the final stretch is a pretty good thing. Because again, I always said this game is not going to come out this year. No game is coming out this year. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the big games that are coming out this year, like God of War and Forspoken and stuff, they got delayed. Well, not God of War Ragnarok. That's coming out when it comes out. And I think it's coming out this year. But, I'm excited for this game. I'm extremely excited to see what they're about to do with the Final Fantasy franchise in general. So, I'm glad that they took their time. They're actually sitting here and crafting this game to be a lot better. And I'm looking for better articles, but yeah, pretty much that's all that was told. And, they said they're pretty much working on English voice acting and all that stuff. So, I'm super excited to see what they're going to do. Again, development time is going to be epic, and it's a hack and slash game. It's more of an action based game, which is also, I'm very curious to see how they're about to handle that, because it's a very different way of handling things. Because even their more action based games did have a little bit of turn based RPG in them for Final Fantasy games. So like, let's look at Remake. Final Fantasy 7 Remake, yeah, it was action, but it was also kind of turn based, because you had to strategize how your character was going to move around, what attacks you were going to use, and you couldn't just spam certain attacks because you would run out of ATP, which honestly is a great system. Honestly, because that was my favorite part of Final Fantasy, was doing the ATP system. It was an interesting combat mechanic, and it made you feel like you were in control, even when you weren't in control. Another thing I want to talk about is that even Final Fantasy 15, it was a great action game. It just wasn't all that. And everyone's gonna bring up Kingdom Hearts and stuff. Kingdom Hearts was built from the ground up to be an action game. Just saying. Dragon Quest, I don't think Dragon Quest is an action game. I still think it's turn based. And Saga is also turn based. So it's this is the first Final Fantasy game that's focusing and not as polished on the action elements, because even when you take a look at the trailer, which is only one trailer, but it shows there's some Devil May Cry in there, there's a little bit of God of War sprinkled in there, there's a little bit of everything just sprinkled up in there, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. And yeah, that's really the only update we have for the game. So next time we get an update, I'll make sure to make a video on it. I have a little bit more time on my hands now, but right now I'm in finals week, guys. So that's why you're getting these videos a little bit lazily edited, like not a lot going on. So yeah, you're probably just seeing a Final Fantasy 16 trailer right now over and over again. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Probably you'll get a lot more content next week, not this week, and the week after. But until then, peace out.